today we're going to be showing you how to wrap your arm at home for lymphedema. So Paige here is our model. She's going to be demonstrating somebody with lymphedema that we're going to be wrapping at home. So when you are wrapping at home, you can be in a couple different positions. You can either be in a recliner, in a reclined position, sort of like Paige is here, or you can be just sitting in a chair with your arm resting on a table, or in that position. Either one will work fine. So the first thing you're going to want to do is put lotion on the arm. So we'll go ahead and do that here. Put some lotion, make sure. And the reason for this is because, as you guys are probably aware, lymphedema is a very drying condition. So the skin gets very dry underneath all of these bandages. So we just want to make sure to keep the skin very moisturized, especially the cuticles in these cold months too. That's very important. Okay, the next step is you're going to put on this stockinette. And this is going to be from that big box where you can kind of cut a length. And usually I cut it about 1.5 times the length of the arm because it does tend to shrink. This is the layer that you can actually wash yourself so that you can switch these out each day. So the purpose of this layer is just to kind of wick away moisture and protect your arm from the bandages themselves. So you put this on just like a kind of a stocking there. We let it hang over the fingers a little bit, and you're just going to kind of pull it up right like that. And it's fine that there's excess up here because we're going to use that to pull down over the top when we're all done, and same down here. So we're going to use some scissors to just snip a little thumb hole in here. So I usually just do a little snip like that, and that tends to work out fine. For right now, we're just going to pull this whole thing back so that we can wrap her fingers. Okay? So to wrap the fingers, we're going to use this Elastomule as the brand that is one brand, but it's basically just this gauze, and it's about 2 inches in length here. So what you're going to do is you're going to start at the base of the hand. And one thing I want to point out is that you want to start with the roll on the top. So instead, everybody likes to kind of wrap like this, but you lose control of the bandage. So that'll come into play when you do the other bandages as well. You want to start with the roll on the top. That allows you to have a little bit better control. You're going to go around the base of the wrist here twice. Just enough tension to kind of have it lay flat. You don't want to pull really tight on this. Once you've gone around twice, you're going to go to one of the fingers to start wrapping. You can start on any finger. I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to go to the thumb first if this is her right hand. If it was her left, I would probably start with the pinky and go this way. It's just whichever works better. So we're going to go to the thumb. We're going to wrap around the thumb twice, just covering kind of to the base of the nail. Once we've wrapped around twice, we're going to go back around the hand and then move to the next finger. So again, I'm going to start kind of at the tip of the finger here, right at the base of the nail, work my way down the finger 2 or 3 wraps around, and then we'll go back around the hand. Then we're going to get to the next finger, go around, and again, not much tension here, just enough so that there's not a lot of folds. So back around the hand. Now we're going to come to her ring finger. We'll go around. And this stuff just sticks to itself. You do not need masking tape for this part. We will use the masking tape later when it comes to the other bandages. So we just kind of lay it on, and you can rest your hand. All of these are reusable except for these. These do tend to get a little bit dirty, so in your supplies you should have had a whole bag of these. And it usually takes 1 or 2 of these per hand, and you'll throw these away each time. Alright, so again, we're going to start a new one by securing it by wrapping around the base of the hand twice. Then we're going to go to whatever finger we left off on. So for us it's the pinky. And somebody that has a more swollen hand, it may be that you only got to this finger and you need to go here. So that's fine. We're going to start here at the pinky, going around twice, and then we'll go back around the top of the hand. Now that we have all the fingers done, we're going to alternate and go below the thumb and then above the thumb, and then below the thumb and above. And we keep alternating like that, just laying it flat, not putting a lot of tension, until we run out. Now in some cases, your therapist, we might have told you to put a little piece of foam or something here, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But you don't put the foam right on the skin. You always put this right next to the skin. When you're done with that, you'll pull this back and put her thumb right through that thumb hole. I'm going to show with this, but just keep in mind that if myself or your therapist has showed you with this foam, that this is the foam that you should be using. But I'm going to illustrate how to do it with the thin white foam. Or even just poke it through the foam here for the thumb. And then I just kind of tuck it up underneath the palm there. From here, we're just going to kind of wrap up the arm, and we're just going to overlap about 50%. And again, not much pressure. And you'll notice again, my roll is on the top. Just helps me keep control of it a little bit better. When you get to the elbow crease, this is where you can kind of pad this a little bit by folding it over. And it just allows for a nice padding there. And you can work your way all the way up the arm. Now, if you've got a very swollen arm, it might take more than one roll of this padding to cover the arm. But in her arm, we were able to get the whole roll on one arm. When you're done with this, you don't want to put masking tape on this either, because it'll stretch this out. So I usually just kind of tuck it in at the top just until we're ready to get the other brown bandages on. So this happens to be a 6. And again, we're going to start at the hand. So go ahead and you can bend your elbow and then just spread your fingers as wide as you can. So it's important to spread the fingers because you don't want to wrap your hand like this. It's going to be very hard to move it if you've wrapped it like this. So spread as wide as you can. So we're going to start at the wrist here and go around twice. And again, my roll is on the top. We're going around twice, not pulling very hard, but just a little bit of a tug. And then once we've gone around twice, we're going to go below the thumb and then above the thumb. Each time we come across the top of the arm is when we're going to give a little tug. So below the thumb, little tug, and above the thumb. And we do that 3 times. Once you've done that 3 times, then you can work your way up the arm, overlapping about 50%, giving a little tug each time you come across. You don't want to pull the whole way around because then that will be too uncomfortable and too tight. What actually causes the compression with the bandages is the number of layers, not actually the amount you pull. So once I've finished, then I'm going to grab my tape, which I've already cut and had ready, and I'm just going to secure the tape to the bandage. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one, I usually use a 8 centimeter bandage, and I start at the wrist. And I'm going to go right here. When I start, I usually like to start at a diagonal a little bit to kind of make sure that this edge doesn't get left out. So I go around just enough to kind of secure it. So I pull each time I come across. And then when I get up to the elbow, this is when I kind of do something to make the elbow a little bit more comfortable. So I'm going to make an X, so I come diagonal across the elbow. Then I am going to come all the way around to make a full circle. So I come all the way around the top of the arm, I go back around again, and then I make an X to finish the X the other way. And this I don't really pull on much at all. Then with the rest of this bandage, I finish it below the elbow. I kind of just roll it out, not much tension. From this point on, you want to keep the elbow straight until you finish wrapping. But this just allows for a little bit more comfort, and it helps keep the bandage on a little bit better. Okay? And then the last bandage that we're going to do is the 12. And some people will need 2 of these, some people just 1. She's probably just going to need 1, but we're going to start where we left off here. And I'm going to switch the direction that I'm going. So I have been rolling this way. I'm going to switch and do it this way, just to avoid some torsion on the arm or too much force going the other way. So we're just going to overlap about 50% and give a little tug when you come across the top. A little pull. A little pull. And if you get up above the foam, it's okay. Get right up kind of toward that armpit area. And then if you have some left over, you can go back down a little bit. Just don't pull on those pieces at all. You just want to lay those out. When you're done with those, you're going to tape that. And I usually use about 4 or 5 pieces of tape on this one, on the last one that you do, just to make sure it stays up pretty good. When you get the masking tape, you want to make sure you get good quality masking tape. That's key. You can also use medical tape. It's just a little bit more expensive. But Scotch brand masking tape works really well at a lower cost. So once you've got that, I'm going to raise her arm up just so you can see kind of the tape there. So once you've got the bandage secured, you pull the top part of the gauze stockinette down to just kind of protect it. And then the bottom part here up to protect this end. And go ahead and touch your finger to your nose for me. Okay? So should be able to bend and move, shouldn't be painful. Just a little tight, but this pain is not normal with this, so you should not be painful. If it's painful, then that probably means it's too tight and you need to probably redo it again and try again. So, thank you.